What's up? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And welcome to another episode of Ask Sylvester Lee. Now, Ask Sylvester Lee been around for a while for those of you talking about another episode. Now, I've been doing Ask Sylvester Lee in Facebook world for a couple of years now. And it was just a Facebook group where people would get on and they would ask me various questions and get my expert opinion or get my, my wisdom behind the topic. And it did pretty well in the Facebook world. But now we're bringing that to the YouTube world, the podcast world. And for many of you, you are aware of my podcast of Dads After Divorce, which was geared towards fathers who were navigating the dating life, the single life, just the healing journey after a divorce and rebuilding their image as a father, you know. So now we're taking it a little step further where we're going to be diving into a broad range of topics, different various topics that all of us can relate to. Now, bear with me because I got 1, 2, 3 cameras in here and I'm trying to figure this all out. So, today, as mentioned, we're going to be discussing. Oh, wait, first, before we do that, I'm your host, Sylvester Lee. Oh, Sylvester Lee. All right, so today we're going to be diving into a topic that concerns many of us. I know it concerns me. You know, I'm not the only parent dealing with this, and I'm not going to be the last parent dealing with this. Um, you know, this has everything to do with teenagers in their digital lives. Again, teenagers in their digital lives. How many devices are too many? Yes. How many devices are too many? And what about the potential pitfalls of the dark web? The dark web. A lot of us don't think about that. And I just want to have this conversation with all the parents out there and go over a few things on how we can tackle this and navigate this world of electronic devices, social media, and still parent. You know, because they used to say it takes a community or a village to raise a kid or raise a child. Now we're talking about a village. Now with the internet, we got the entire world's view that's helping us. We got all these different cultures, all these different ethnic backgrounds that are influencing our children, you know, and our children are being exposed to a lot of different things all at once. Now imagine having the weight of the world on your shoulders where you're able to, see people being gunned down in Chicago or hit and run accidents in Los Angeles or the war over in Palestine, Israel, all these different places. And then you have, you know, protesters out in downtown LA. I'm from California, by the way. And then, a mass shooting out in Tennessee or Miami. And our kids are able to see all these things, And I remember growing up, I used to be, you know, one of them children who, used to seek refuge in my grandmother's wisdom and her understanding. Our children now, they seek refuge in Google. Before your child comes to you and asks for help with their homework assignments, they'll go to Google, which ain't bad, if Google is something you believe in. But it takes away the dependability that children have, when they're able to rely on their parents or their ancestors' wisdom. That type of bond between a parent or an adult and a child is something that I cherish growing up. Now, let's kick things off real quick, and I'm going to stop ranting and running my mouth. Let's kick things off and let's talk about the device overload. Now, for those of you who are following me or following the podcast, Ask Sylvester Lee on Instagram, you saw the post there. In that post, what you saw was 13 devices I believe it was one, two, three. It was five laptops, and those devices all belong to my teenage daughter. So, how many gadgets are too many for teens? And to shed light on this, I want to just kind of be transparent with the audience and let you guys know that, this is a real life, thing. It's a real life thing for me in many ways. Number one, I got married post 9/11, and it was before Facebook. It was, MySpace was, just barely kind of taking off. It was okay. Um, MySpace was getting out of the realm of music, and it was, becoming more sociable, for people to just get on there and just have an account, even if you were not in the music business. Um, so when Facebook had merged from being just only a college campus thing to a worldwide epidemic, and a worldwide engine for everyday people to get on and transact with one another, you know, those type of things, it troubled a lot of marriages. You know, it was a lot of marriages and a lot of relationships who took a big hit when Facebook and MySpace merged like that. And let me explain a little bit more of what I mean by that. Um, we went from, you know, having X's and Nexes and side pieces, you know, that we had to, and I'm not saying I did this, I'm just saying it's clear. Side pieces and all that stuff didn't just come about, it been around. But we had to get out there and interact. We had to get out there. We had to know somebody who knows somebody. But when you got Facebook that comes around, you're able to literally get on Facebook, type in your ex's name or their mama name or their brother or their sister name, and then boom, just like that, you was already back in the lion's den. And I know a lot of exes and nexes were seeking each other. Was I seeking my ex? No, I was not. Was my ex seeking me? No, she was not. But I do know the potential and probability of her doing so or me doing so was heightened now that we had this engine, Facebook. And I'm not blaming Facebook. I'm just saying that social media and devices, all those things, um, you know, cause a lot of divorces to happen. Now, the purpose of this discussion and this conversation today is so that you and I, as adults, and I'm sure if there's children listening, we have to be able to find a healthy balance, because it's not so much about how many devices are being used. It's more so about how we're using these devices. Because when my child's mother and I, bought these devices or got these devices, we never intended on her to use all of these devices. They have this thing where you get upgrades, or, this laptop may not have compact drive or CDR drive, or the Wi-Fi, or, the RAM, everything is just moving slow. So I didn't really know the importance of encouraging a mix of screen time with other activities, for my daughter's well-being. I wasn't really familiar with the screen time process and how to keep it technologically, keeping her technologically inclined, and also keeping her environmentally inclined with, the children, the rest of the children in the household, the children in the community, encouraging those type of interactions. Now, if we think about child development, um, social media and electronic devices are, you know, propelling our children, in an upward motion a lot faster than we would like for them to be. Now, everybody's familiar with the birds and bees conversation. I know you are. I've had these birds and the bees conversation, and I only had to have them after my children had stumbled upon the P word. And I'm not talking about popcorn. I ain't talking about pop smoke. I ain't talking about um, pop music or the nasty word that coincide with the V word. I'm talking about pornography. Pornography from these electronic devices, from social media and things like that. And you would think, how would a child even be exposed to that? Well, algorithms. I sit and I listen to my son's YouTube with him, and then an ad will pop up, and it's somebody saying, press this button if you want a date or for singles in your areas. And I'm like, wow, that's popping up on a child's ad. And then it's not even like they're watching rated R, PG-13, or any type of M-rated YouTube video or nothing like that. They could be watching, excuse me, they could be watching cartoons, and that ad is still gonna pop up. And that's the thing that's quite scary about this. It's very scary, in the realm of that. So it forced me and my children to have a conversation that my children were not developmentally even ready for. And I had to explain it. It was very awkward and very weird because, children are not familiar. Some children are not familiar, um, with the type of things that are discussed in the birds and bees conversation. So, and here's another thing. We have Uber, we have Uber Eats, we have all these other devices that we use to accommodate, our busy schedules. So it almost like it steps in and replaces us for our children. It's more convenient for them to take a Uber ride home. It's more convenient for them to order Uber Eats because I'm running behind or whatever. It all sounds good. But at the end of the day, as parents, we have to safeguard our children because technology and having all these devices, they become codependent on them and they rely on these things for their everyday life. I know my children, they can't clean the house, they can't do their chores, they can't do anything without their devices. They can't go on car rides without their devices. They can't, it's just real sick. It's real sick. And I wasn't like that as a kid. Now, a lot of parents like me are concerned about the dark web. And for those of you who are not sure what the dark web is, it's a dark place. It's a place you don't want to go to unless you know that's your cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea. You know, um, so it's something that I want to really just discuss. So in the comments, if you can just kind of write down or just comment some things on um what can we do to keep our teenagers and our children safe when they're online? You know, how can we increase the uh, safety and security and well-being, protection? When we're not able to be present all the time when our children are engaging online. You know, because for me, when I think of the dark web, I'm thinking about you know child sex trafficking. I'm thinking about illegal arms or gun trades or guns or you know even adult prostitution. Um, you know, even if you like, okay, that's a little absurd. Why would my children be on the dark web? Well, those of you familiar with, you know, bootlegging movies and stuff like that, even those type of things is considered a dark web type of activity. Now, I myself am one of those parents who is I'm very intrusive. I am. I'm sorry. I'm I try to monitor my children's, online usage and their electronic devices, without stripping them of their ability to exercise their common sense and their natural instincts to want to survive or protect themselves. I try to encourage it. So I try to offer them education and I speak with my children, often. I speak with my children often, but here's the problem that I'm facing. And I'm sure more than one of you can relate to this. The problem that I am facing when it comes to having these conversations with my children is let me see, what was that? The problems that I'm facing is because children are so reliant on these electronic devices, they no longer have the need for human interaction, it seems like. And that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. If I'm having a conversation, it's too long. Or if I'm having a conversation, the phone ringing. And the crazy part about it is it's a double-edged sword because it could be their phone or mine. Either way, there's so many distractions and things like that. So I just want to encourage you parents to just have a system and remain consistent. And I don't believe children should have that much privacy to where they feel like you're invading their space by protecting them or keeping them safe from harm. Um, Now, as parents, we have crucial roles to come up with these type of strategies and ensure that our children, have healthy relationships with technologies because there are so many advantages to being equipped with the knowledge to navigate the technology space and using these devices. Um, and then there's some unhealthy things. I know even, a lot of us who are concerned about our children going to school, going to college and stuff like that, even the chat GPT, you know, where we're not even using our brain no more. A lot of us are, fully relying on artificial intelligence to, write our theses, to create our resumes, and to respond to email, even as simple as responding to a text messages. Now, we're really not even exercising our intellectual ability to interact with other human beings the way we should. And it's almost like we're becoming reliant on these things. Now, I can't stress this enough when I say communication is key. Establishing trust and setting clear boundaries with my children and educating them about, being responsible online and, you know, managing their equipment, in a manner of, what I expect for them. Integrity is big in my household. I want my kids to act in a manner, act in a way that, they know I would approve of. And I try to do that as much as possible. So I'm not gonna, stress this and carry this out for too long. I just wanted to get on here and I want to talk about this because this is very important to me. Um, hmm. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of dating apps and things like that where our children are, being exposed to is coming across their game screens and stuff like that. And you have adult men and women who are predators and they're coming after our children. They're coming after the children. So, it's very important for us to really, really be hands on. Our children will thank us later. They will thank us later. Trust me, they will. So that's a wrap for today's episode of Ask Sylvester Lee. I want to give a big thank you to all of my subscribers and all of my followers on Instagram, and for everyone who's tuning in and watching this right now. I just wanted to offer some valuable insight on our teenagers and their devices, our teenagers and, their device overloads, and what are some of the things that we have to watch out for and just be mindful about, you know, things that we kind of are passive about because we don't want to invade our children's privacy or their space. I don't particularly care for, all that type of stuff in my household. Safety is the number one priority for me. And remember, folks, remember, it's important to, help our children with finding that balance, helping them find that balance between having a healthy relationship with electronic devices and social media platforms and having an unhealthy relationship with technology devices and social media. It's an ongoing battle and it's an ongoing journey. So I want everybody to stay tuned for more episodes. And I want everybody to keep the questions coming. And until next time, this is Sylvester Lee, your host, and I'm going to be signing off. Thank you. Thank you so much.